Hello once again, Patriots. Today we're going to do a little something different. We're going to do the chicken vegetable noodle soup in preparation for canning. What I've done so far is I've got all my spices out here that I'm going to be using. And we're cooking outdoors again today. It's one of my favorite spots to be. I don't like being cooped up in the house. If I can get a hold of this chicken, I'm going to remove it. What I did is I put a whole chicken in here and let him cook off in here for about an hour, hour and 15 minutes or so. We're just going to set that boy down there. He is done, okay? And the way I do this is I let that cool off and I'll peel all the meat off of it here a little bit and just then add it. That way it's completely boneless, and I know it's boneless. So what we're going to do is I add vegetables to my noodles a lot, okay? This gives you a little more vitamins and things that, it's all one jar. So what I have here is some bok choy that we grew in our garden that we put up and froze. So we're going to add some of that. Now, I don't know if you are familiar with what bok choy is, but it's basically an oriental cabbage, and they're easy to grow, and you get a lot of it off of one plant. So I'm just going to add a little of that. And kind of like my chicken stew, we're going to add some vegetables to it. Now here I've got just some baby carrots, some onions, and some celery. And I'm going to add this and let this thing just simmer to where most of these vegetables are almost disappeared, to make more of a hearty broth, okay? Now comes our seasonings. I pretty much use the same seasonings for chicken because we've just kind of gravitated and developed a taste for it like that. But here we go. One of my secret ingredients always involves smoke. So we're going to add a little smoke to it. Again, about 3 tablespoons or so. Just to give it that smoky flavor that we all love and adore. Alright, starting with the seasonings, we're going to, of course, use garlic powder. I like using powder in soups more than I do the actual garlic bulbs or the cloves. And because we like it so well, here's about 3 tablespoons of garlic. Again, we'll probably adjust to taste. We always sample the final product before we can. Sea salt. Always use sea salt. Keep a lot of your, if you buy salt in bulk and you want to use the iodized salt and things like that, you really shouldn't, but you could also use it for curing. It's not recommended as much as regular pickling salt or even a light rock salt to pack your meat in. But sea salt. And we want to make it that chickeny flavor that you all recognize. And there are certain spices to achieve that. One is bay leaf. Goes along with beef, very good for beef stews. I usually put, about this size of pot, maybe a dozen in, chunks if they're not whole. We're going to make more of an Italian flavor. We decided to do that instead of the traditional flavor. So we're just going to make it more of an Italian seasoning. Toss a few tablespoons of that in there. Black pepper, seems like it's one of the cook's choice. I don't like a lot in there, but I just like, where it's really not layering the bottom of your bowl when you make a bowl of soup. Sweet fine basil. We got a bunch in the hothouse right now that's just going nuts, but I'd say probably a teaspoon of basil. Now you got to remember you're cooking in bulk, So you have to use more seasonings to achieve the flavors and the taste that you would normally have by just cooking, say, in a small pot. Uh, so you're actually cooking with the end product probably of around 8, 9, 10 quarts. I believe this is a 12-quart saucepan, well, kettle. I'm putting in a little bit of poultry seasoning. And that's it. Uh, I have on occasion again used one of my other favorites to use is soy sauce on things. Sometimes I like it the oriental flavored, more egg drop soup type, you know. If you go to a Chinese restaurant, you get that. Well, you can do that also. Uh, but you'll have to remember, check your timing, go buy uh, whatever your canning books will tell you. It changes from elevation, so you need to remember that. So that'll give you the proper time and poundage that you need to do and for how long. Okay, we're going to let this stew. I'm going to give it probably about another hour and a half or so just to break down all the celery, the bok choy, but there will be some carrot chunks left in there because of the size of the carrot. And it takes longer for the carrot to cook. Then we're going to have to add our chicken. Okay? When I can get this thing cooled down to where I can handle it, we're going to debone it and then add the meat to the pot. And being how this is already cooked and we've already cooked off most of the chicken's fat and everything and it's already in the soup pot, we'll be able to just put that right straight into the pot and then we can add whatever you want to make this as. Today, I'm just going to do this for the sake of time so we don't have to have a little short segment of about 30 seconds. I've got these kind of noodles here, but use whatever you got. Elbow, macaroni, anything, noodles, if you want to, and take a little extra time, you can always make your own homemade egg noodle. And that was real good. We do those occasionally too. Or dumplings, okay? You can do that. So we're going to use what we have the most of. We got a ton of macaroni, and because it's easy to store, it's a dry good that's not going to go bad on you. But the only thing that could possibly happen is if you get any kind of vermin in it, or rats or bugs or whatever that way. This will be the last step. You put that in to cook for. Now remember, you're doing this for canning purposes, okay? So you really don't have to cook the macaroni all the way. This will keep it from turning to mush inside your jars when you go to can it, okay, in the pressure cooker. So you're only going to want to give these whatever the most amount of time is. These guys here are a little larger noodles and they're a little beefier. These things, for me, as far as the texture of them, what I like to eat them is more of an al dente or a little more firm instead of a real soft noodle. So I'm just going to basically pop these in for maybe 5-10 minutes tops and turn the heat off. We're done. And then we can go to starting loading our jars and getting them in the pressure cooker. And that again will be another segment, and we'll see Nancy with that here in just a little while. And you folks have a good day. And I want to make it a little advertisement for the people at patriotspace.com. This is where I'm posting all this kind of stuff, but it's also going to be on YouTube, I understand. So start helping yourself out by doing some of these things like this and can it up. You'll be surprised how fast, start to finish, you can have. Start filling your pantries up, getting that food up there where you're going to be able to save it and save the money on it. Find the prices when they're at their lowest. Find sales. You know, you may not have the money allocated for it, so I kind of rob Peter to pay Paul. You know, you just kind of do a little adjustment on the finances so that we can take advantage of the sales, okay? And that's where you're going to be able to make your savings. So anyway, you people at patriotspace.com, you'll see more of me. Later.